Hi, everyone. So I want
Hello.
to introduce you to my parents, to my mom. That's obviously my mom, right, on the left of the screen, and my dad, Christian. So I grew up in the UK, so I have British roots, although I've been in the United States for more than 30 years. And then Christian is truly French. And if we weren't on camera, I'd probably speak French to him, but we speak franglais together, and I have no idea what my parents speak together. So whatever, a multitude of languages. But anyway, some of you, of course, over the years have met my parents and keep in touch with them. But I wanted to have them jump on this fun little chat that we're recording today, and you'll get to see when this pops up on your screen on Facebook or in the blog. But I wanted to chat with my parents about their lives and the food that is so central to their lives. So Christian and my mom have lived in France, like Northwest France, right in the Vendée. So that's south of Brittany, so Northwest. What, about 4 hours from Paris? Christian?
Yeah, 4 hours. Yeah.
You're driving, right? If you're lucky, right? If you fly, it's about an hour, but that's a whole other,
Yeah.
a whole other deal. And then you lived in Portugal for how many years?
About 7, 8.
7, 8, on and off. But you went back and forth a little bit, right?
Back
France,
and forth, yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and now you're living in Spain.
Yeah.
And where are you living in Spain?
Well, we are in a little place about 35 kilometers east of Malaga, which is called Torre del Mar. It's a seaside resort, and it's still, thanks God, very much Spanish.
It's very Spanish.
Of course, we have foreigners because they are everywhere.
Meaning Europeans.
But it is during the summer holiday, which has just ended. This is really taken over, by Spanish, coming as far away even as Madrid. People from Cordoba, we know, come here on holiday. So it is very, very much a Spanish place.
Okay. So basically the language you're hearing is predominantly Spanish, whether it's Spanish, the height of the holiday season. Okay.
Yeah, it has, it's not too easy to understand. I've made some progress, thanks God. But it's guttural, and it's not easy. If they speak slowly, I can more or less follow. As soon as they go at their normal speed, I'm lost.
You can't follow. It's not Castilian Spanish, and you have to go up north for that. So,
yes, exactly.
Okay, so Malaga, for I have an audience from around the world. With my colleagues in Australia, may not know where Malaga is. So if you look at Spain, you're going to the south of Spain, right? It's
on the south of Spain, yeah. Malaga, which is of course the capital, about 250,000 people. And it's absolutely full of life. It's a tremendous city. We love it. Beautiful, really beautiful.
Well, that's great, because when Malaga, and where you are, the ocean that you live on or you see from your apartment is, of course, the Mediterranean, right?
You're 5 minutes from the Med, yeah.
It's truly the Mediterranean lifestyle. However, you also lived on the south coast of Portugal, actually very close to the Spanish border, close-ish to Seville, right, which is also a beautiful Spanish city.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gorgeous. You guys went shopping there. That's where you went up down the border. That's also a beautiful, beautiful city if anyone gets a chance to visit. So Portugal, where you were, of course, is on the Atlantic Ocean.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
But would you say when you live there and you live in Spain, it's a similar lifestyle, a similar approach to life, or not?
Not really, no, not really.
So what's the difference?
The main difference is that the Andalusia of the north, next to Portugal, are a very, very different people from the Andalusians here, the south.
So wait, so I have to define that.
Here,
yeah.
They're completely different.
What you're saying, so Andalusia is this region that you're in Spain, right?
Yeah.
You're in Andalusia. And there's a difference between the Andalusia culture next to Portugal versus where you are in the Mediterranean.
Yeah, it's different. They are a harsher type of Spanish living next to Portugal. They are so close to Portugal that there's still that feeling between the two countries that is not difficult to miss. Where here it doesn't apply. Everybody's friendly and happy. The
Would you
children
say that, I mean, that part of Spain and that part of Portugal, of course, it got developed, the coast. So, I mean, I went there 30 something years ago, Mom, and it was a dirt track, right?
Yeah.
So, the time you lived there in southern Portugal, of course, it changed, but it's more rural compared to where you are now, where Malaga is a big city.
Very much,
yes,
very much
yes,
so.
yeah.
Oh, yes.
So that maybe that lifestyle is a little bit more rural. I won't say more authentic, but just different culturally, right?
Yes, very different.
Yeah, very.
Very
Yeah.
different.
So what about the food then? I mean, we got to talk about the food. So you have beautiful markets in Portugal, right? I mean, a tiny little market at the end of your road. Used to go, and literally, I remember back in the day that the whole family would come to the market, right? And they would literally strap the animals on the back of the little moped, and that's what came to
Yeah, very good.
Right, yeah.
Absolutely.
you would see a lamb.
No, we have not seen that here. It's a bit more sophisticated.
Right, but that was 30 years ago too, and that was a tiny market that you saw change over the years, just not in Tavira, but in the town you lived before Tavira.
Yeah.
That's true. But Portugal has changed enormously. It's quite sad where we used to live now. It's been taken over completely by Dutch people, and it's called Little Holland on Sea. And it's so different. You've lost the Portuguese culture, the tiles are gone, it's all different. We've seen the best of it and it's lovely. But when we went back last time, it was enough to bring tears. It was so bare of people. It was just wrong. It felt horrible.
So would you say, I mean, because you've been going there for so long, so we're talking about Portugal, and we can get back to Spain here. So Portugal is southern Europe. Well, not southern like Greek, but it's the southern part. Those of you who don't know Portugal, Europe, so you have France, and then the southwest part of France, you drive into Spain, and then if you keep going west, you get to Portugal. So my parents live way at the bottom. And so this was an area called the Algarve, which when you first met their Mom, and you, Christian, it was undiscovered. And so much of the Mediterranean, of course, has been developed as a result of the common market, the EEC, right? When Portugal and Spain were admitted to the European Union, if that will stay together. This part of Portugal was very rural, very poor, but of course it was ripe for development, right? So in the time that you guys lived there, you saw development of the golf courses, the sailing community, the holiday clubs, the hotels, and that kind of took away some of the rural character and the authenticity of the region, would you say?
Yeah.
It's just building.
Yeah. Well, we choose eastern Portugal, in other words, east of Faro, the capital. Because of that, because it was really mostly Portuguese. Hardly we were the only foreigners now on our little hill.
I remember that.
If you remember.
Yes.
And the nearest neighbor was about 500 yards. And I like to relate a little story that it was a farm with about 20 hectares, of which only 1 hectare was available for growing anything at all. The rest was rock. And about 2 years, he was living in complete autarky. The only thing he bought really was fish, which was brought to him. The rest he produced everything. And 2 years after we were there, we heard, a sort of machine in the morning, and and he had brought one of these, machine like we had in France in the 40s, 50s, to beat the wheat. Before that, he used to beat the wheat by hand.
Oh wow! Yeah.
I mean, we are talking about 1992. It's not, it's not that far away, and so on. Just to show you. And then after that, it was, it was a mobile phone and people on school.
Right.
I mean, we saw the difference in a matter of years. It moved from rural to, basically town, more or less.
Right, pretty much.
Which was a bit sad for us.
Yeah, you got to experience it, and I think that's what's happened is as wealth has replaced those authentic places. I know from where you lived in Portugal, you could still drive back in the mountains even a few years ago, and it was still authentic. There'd be buildings you know, as people flowed in there. But I guess they came for what you came for too, right? This, you know,
but you
beautiful
don't have
life.
where we lived, we've got the building, but no people.
Correct.
There's
There are no
nothing.
people.
It's just building, 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 and unfinished building. It's really quite sad. So, we don't
So
see
I
much
remember
of
you,
that.
yeah, I know it's progress, but it takes away the authenticity. And I think
Yeah.
that's one of the points to be made, that definitely in my work in the United States, the more people are clustered together, you think it will be a bigger community, but you actually lose that sense of community, right? You know, because the people are displaced who are native to those lands.
Yeah.
Right. So,
And in your garden there, then we have to get to Spain. In your garden there, I mean, I think we used to be able to hop over the fence, and there was like an orchard of fig trees. Is that right? Just
Yeah.
down the.
Indeed,
you could look over the.
bottom. Yeah.
But you
We
also
produce our
have
own
what
figs.
else? What else grew native, like in your garden? And like if you drove down your long driveway, there was all kinds of food you could eat, right? Other than what you were growing. So what could you just pick from the trees?
in France or in
Yeah, no, in Portugal. The France, I know.
Portugal, nothing very
No,
much.
figs and olives are the only thing we had on
So,
our
like,
land.
you know, I'm sorry, but figs and oranges, you know, that's fabulous for us. Anybody who is older, who grew up in California, would remember California used to be a state of citrus. You know, just go right outside of LA, and this was citrus. And so in your time in Portugal, I mean, citrus was everywhere, right? And fig trees.
Yeah. And there were oranges, but they didn't grow very well in our particular part. The rocks didn't like having trees.
The oranges in like the rocks.
Oh,
There's nothing there.
The earth, our earth was terrible. You know, really
Yeah,
terrible.
you had a lot of rocks,
Yeah.
but yeah, no doubt if you had grown wine there, Christian, it would have been fantastic, because wine stock loves rocks,
Oh,
right?
yes. I think it would.
We did think about grapes.
Red mostly.
Red mostly, right?
We did think about grapes, but we ate them.
Right.
They weren't very good.
You went back and forth to France, a little stint in England, and now you're in basically southeastern Spain on the Mediterranean.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
So how would you describe the food there? You know, what you have access when you go to the market?
It's so natural. Everything is natural.
Yeah.
What we do find rather strange is the amount of food that you get. It's like the American portions. If they said you could have a senior portion, we'd be delighted. But you have a amount, I can't explain how big it is. I don't know if you remember, we went with you to have some fish, and Don was with us, and he had this great big fish on the plate. Do you remember that?
Yes, in Portugal.
That's what you get here when you order something small.
Yes.
You get this whacking great thing. So we always have to say one between us, or we have one piece of tiramisu and 2 spoons. It's enormous, Amanda. You can't believe it. But we have such a choice of restaurants as well. We have genuine Italian. We have Moroccan, obviously.
You're lucky.
Italian, called Salt and Pepper, our Italian restaurant next to us, and we have 3 of those around us. There's tapas bars everywhere.
Of course.
We love tapas, absolutely love it.
So everyone, and we're a little bit familiar with Spanish culture here in the US, but more, of course, from Latin America as opposed to Spain. So, but I think most Americans, Australians are familiar with tapas, but tapas is this, it's kind of like aperitivo, right?
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
I mean, we could live and die with tapas. It's so good. It's so good.
It is. So tapas.
And they they cook it for you in front of you, literally.
Of course.
You never have anything that's sort of been prepared for a day and brought out again or anything like that. And I think the challenge for us has been to accept the fact that everything we look at in the markets is locally grown.
Well, that's wonderful. So listen, I want to go back and define tapas as aperitivo. So, because it's a very important part of the Mediterranean, in that literally people work different hours. So literally, usually the day will start a little later. The further south in the Mediterranean you go, the later we start, right? Breakfast is very, very small. And then, so you work a day, and then the end of the day, a lot of times people mark the end of the day by, they'll stop by a local bar, cafe, and they may, in Italy, they will have a glass of Prosecco or
yes, that's right.
Aperol Spritz. And in Spain, what would you have? It was similar, right? You would have a glass of something and a little something to eat because it breaks the end of the day before you go to the evening meal. So that's what happens.
Well, you know, I walk every day, you know, in Torre del Mar, and the cafe are absolutely full of people.
Of course.
And who are, they have a café con leche, naturally, mostly there, you know, no wine, no beer in the morning.
In the morning, right.
Everybody eat something. It's absolutely incredible. Their favorite is a toasted piece of bread about that size and so on. And
what size, Christian? Lift your hand up. Show us what size.
A bit more.
That big?
Oui, quite big.
That's a big piece,
so,
okay.
Yes, so it is toasted. It is toasted. You drip it with olive oil. Okay, and then you are brought with mashed tomatoes.
Yes.
Special.
Yeah, exactly. You put it on it and you eat that. And it is definitely their number one.
I love that. I saw that in Madrid, and that's what I saw. It's a toast, olive oil, and then the tomatoes.
Yeah.
A lot of times they'll put oregano on that or a fresh herb on top of that. I saw in Madrid.
Not here, just on that. Maybe a little bit of pepper and so on. It's delicious, very good.
It is delicious.
But what is interesting is that, you know, sometime in winter, not now, it's too warm, but, you know, we go out to have ourselves a café con leche and so on. And, you know, that's enough for us because we had breakfast and so on. And of course, the camarero is always, you know, surprised. You don't want to eat anything. You know, it is, they are really surprised.
But what about churros?
But yes, so we have also churros.
Oh, yeah, churros.
You have that? Okay, well, that is a specialty of here. And it is usually, you must have it with hot chocolate, not café con leche. Yeah. So.
And churros is, I think we know it here in the States, but it has a cinnamon flavor. Is that right?
Not a lot here. Yes, it should have, but not where we are. Not where we are. They're just plain and so on. And it's quite nice. No, it's quite nice.
So the cafe society. Yeah. And this is what I love in Europe.
Oh, it's a cafe society.
It is whether you're in Paris, whether you're in Provence, whether you're in Rome, where you're in Madrid or where you are, Lisbon. The cafe is like the public house, right? It's where
But to me, it's more than what I have seen, you know, in France or even in Portugal. It is really absolutely incredible. You know, you have to queue sometime just to get into
the cafe. So
you know, we have. I mean, I can't tell you. I would have to count, but in a small town, Torre del Mar is 25,000 people. I could see you can have a cafe house, you know, every 100 meters. I mean, you know, really, we have a lot of them. And still, it's full. It's absolutely incredible.
So how much do you pay for? So café con leche is like a cappuccino.
Café con leche is between 1 and 120 and 140 euros.
Oh, let's beat Starbucks then.
Yeah, that's it.
How big is the cup? How big's the cup? The con leche?
No, it's not enormous. It's not enormous.
It's big enough. It's big enough.
It's enough.
Yeah.
Oui. and it must be said that the wherever you go, the quality of the coffee is stupendous.
It should be.
No, it's true. It's true. You know, sometime in France, and so you find the coffee, you know, café au lait rather bitter.
Yeah.
And here it's really, really nice.
So they're rivaling the Italians with their coffee because I love Italian coffee.
It's absolutely essential to local people that they have coffee. It's something that is their way of inviting or doing something.
Correct.
You don't have anything like nothing is offered with the coffee in a private house. You just have coffee.
Right, right.
You're asked for coffee, and coffee you have.
That's it, right.
You wouldn't be offered biscuits or any of the little aperitif things that we miss, because aperitif is not known.
No, it's not known.
No. The French are.
It's interesting how important coffee is in Spain, because in Italy, as you guys know, I mean, literally you have the little bars where you stop and they sell what? Newspapers, cigarettes, coffee, and little bread rolls. But people literally will stop on the way to work. They'll get an espresso, and that's it. They drink it. It's like getting a shot of tequila, but it's a shot of coffee. And it's such a part of society. It's part of their ritual. But the great thing is people are doing it, and they'll know everyone in the bar, right? It's a little different in Italy. You drink your cafe and you go. But what's neat about the cafe culture is it brings people together. People know
they sit at table and they chat. You go back half an hour later, they're still there.
They're still there.
It's true. It's true. Absolutely. Oh yes. Time and time again. Time is of no importance at all.
I love it.
In Portugal, you used to say, "Will it be this week or next week or next year?" And here they think you're serious, because it is like that. They don't have any connotation of time and date.
Whatsoever.
We use Amazon quite a lot for bits and pieces, because what we want is not always local, and we get a 24-hour service. But they come on a Sunday at 10 o'clock at night.
It's 24/7, Mom. It doesn't.
You can forget the morning. That is not popular.
Right.
That is not popular.
Well, that's the same. The further south you go in Europe, the later the day starts. And I think it makes sense because, we'll talk about that some other time. But what I did want to do is just come back and talk about tapas. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this broadcast and I'm going to have you come back again, because there's so much to talk about. And I want to talk a lot more about the food, because I think, talking with you, people can really learn, when Amanda's presenting on connectivity in the Mediterranean and what we learn from the Mediterranean. It's not just research and peer-reviewed science. People really live this way, but it is changing.
Absolutely.
It's exciting.
It is
exciting. So, it's given us a new stimulus to our lives.
Well, we're going to talk about that stimulus to your life before we end today, but go back. We were talking about tapas earlier, and then we haven't even talked about the market of what you cook in your kitchen yet. We'll do that another time.
Yeah.
But go back to tapas and describe what a couple of different tapas that you would get. So this is that evening kind of snack that you may have with a glass of wine, Prosecco, whatever, a small beer. What would it be a typical couple of tapas that you guys like?
Well, one definitely, which seems to be favorite, we found it everywhere, is what they call ensalada rusa, which is, what is
Russian
in English?
salad.
Russian salad.
So what's in it?
And it's, it's got, of course, potato, egg, tuna.
Tuna was in everything.
And
absolutely everything.
And the quality vary, we always take it because I love that. And you find really, really different quality from one, tapas bar to another. But it's very good. They do something, this is a specialty of Cordoba, which is, it's called berenjenas.
Yes.
Which is, what is it in English?
This is what happens when you speak multiple languages. Something happens in one language, you can't think of the translation. What's in the dish?
It's called, we call it aubergine.
Oh, eggplant.
Oh, you call it eggplant.
Eggplant, yeah.
So the eggplant are cut into thin slices. They are fried in oil, okay? And they are served with a...
It's black.
With a black treacle.
Oh, that's like the molasses in the States.
And yes, similar.
But not sweet.
And the one we had in Cordoba was absolutely incredible. Now you have to be very careful, because if you have offered that as a tapas, you could truly feed 4 people out. No, it's black. So this is the good thing of tapas, but they are almost, too much.
It's almost dinner.
So of course, there is no room practically to try another tapas. And I like a variety of things.
Yeah.
But that is really, really good. And it is typically stuff from Andalusia, we have been told. Especially it was created, I think, in Cordoba, and it's spread everywhere. And it's very, very, very nice.
So everyone, so you hear my folks talking about Andalusia. So this is the Sierra Nevada area. So it's the most southernmost part.
Very much. Yes, we are very close to the Sierra Nevada.
Yes.
And we go there every early July because we are unfortunate to live, near the sea. And we have a big rock concert, 4 days. Yeah,
oh, right where you are.
Which which brings something like 200,000 people. So I can tell you it's really there. And of course, it's practically on our window, so you can't sleep for 4 days. So we leave and we go to a lovely little village called Lanjaron, very well known for its water. It's a spa town. It's about an hour and a quarter from here. Beautiful at the foothill of the Sierra Nevada, and and it's fantastic as well. We love it there. It's really the views and the local food as well.
It's fair. I mean, it's very different there.
To monastery we stay, which is rather
very
interesting.
nice. Very nice. Yeah.
So that area of Spain. So the most well-known city is Granada.
Granada. That's not too far from us as well.
Incredible. So I actually did a site tour from Granada all the way through those white villages. It's absolutely beautiful. And Cordoba, we know.
We love Cordoba. We stay at a hotel which is just opposite the Mesquita because your mom does not walk very well. So the closer we have to the place of interest is good. And we had fantastic 2 days there. We spent hours in the Mesquita. It must be seen.
I sent you some pictures.
What's that now?
Of Cordoba. In a little tiny boat thing. It's a pedal.
Oh, right.
Yeah, to discover the town.
Fantastic boy.
It can go in the narrow. How narrow the street can be in Spain and so on. Because no car can go there, so you can go with this little tricycle thing.
Oh,
absolutely lovely. The Cordoba is fantastic.
It's well known because it has this unique, and then we're just gonna sign off after this, but it has a unique, it's a church and what is it? It's a Catholic church and
I think it was the largest mosque in the Muslim world, when they control Andalusia. I think they could cater for about 30. Oh no, more than that.
9,000 Muslims.
And it's it's fantastic. And of course, when the Catholic king took over, as it is, so they had to take over a little bit. But thank God they kept that from the past, and it's fantastic.
So basically, the building is a mosque, and you walk through it, which is absolutely incredible, and then you end up in a Catholic church, and the two are like combined, like side by side.
Yes,
so that's Cordoba.
So they built a little, within the mosque, there is a place for worship for the Christian, but really the Muslim part is by far the greatest.
It's incredible.
And it's incredible. It's really
absolutely. It is.
It's quite unique. There's not a lot left, as you know, elsewhere.
I remember.
This one in sheer grandeur is superb, absolutely
it's really
superb.
Brilliant.
Yeah. One thing to say quickly about Andalusia, we did a tour not long ago, and we went to the east part of Andalusia, a town called Almeria, and that proved really a total disappointment. Because what you have is, I can tell you, the sign of maybe a small French department becoming absolutely full of plastic.
Oh.
That's all it is. Yeah, you do not see the countryside. From the mountain, the foothill of the Sierra Nevada, to the sea, is covered. We have driven hours, and that's all it is. And it is said, this is really more or less the place where Spain get all its food. But you understand, it is not organic, so we don't use anything from there. But it's really sad, really sad. A sea of plastic. That's all you see. I've got the picture to prove it.
Yeah, send that because my audience would like to see that. But so adventures. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Adventures through. We haven't even talked about France at all. Well, we compared like Portugal to Spain and your first impressions and a couple of the important rituals. The café con leche and the tapas. So next time we're going to talk about when you go food shopping, how you shop, what you see, and how both of you cook, because it's very, very interesting. And I just want to end this today by saying my mom turns 90 this year. Don't you, Mom?
Yes.
You turn 90 this year, Mom.
Yeah, 90 this year.
Yes, yeah.
There we.
And I would say for both of you.
Time flies.
What did you say?
I said it's beginning to show in many ways.
I don't think anyone listening to you would even guess your age. But I think that's part of why I wanted to have you and chat with you, over a series of different broadcasts, is because you spend so much of your lives in the Mediterranean infused countries, even in France, where you've lived. It's not the Mediterranean, but it's the culture, the approach to food and community that I think is so important. So I want to unpack that a little bit more in some of our other broadcasts. So, so we're going to say goodbye to our audience, and we'll let you all know when to come back, and we'll post another video.
It's a pleasure.
Why do you all come back?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.